Hello everyone, Darkizer here, welcoming you back to another episode of my Space Engineers Survival Series. I want to thank all of you for your patience in following me and keeping up with my, shall we say, sporadic schedule since my knee replacement surgery. Everything went well. I am recovering as well as can be expected. Yes, it hurts a lot. I will have to beg your forgiveness if I happen to be either a little distracted or if my speech is not quite what you might expect. I am heavily medicated. But let's get on with things. I've managed to make a few changes in the last couple of days. As I had stated at the end of my last episode, I was planning on going after the military base, but I had decided to go after it with my rover. Unfortunately, even though I did manage to record it, somehow the file became corrupted, and so I did not have a video of that battle, short-lived as it was. Basically, I took the rover and I drove to a spot just outside of gun range, at which point I began closing in and shooting the interior guns off the exterior of the bunker. And interior guns on the outside of a bunker will always be something of a dichotomy to me. I did manage to take the bunker. However, unfortunately, it cost me the rover. The rover was so badly damaged by the time everything was done that I had decided it was not salvageable. So I simply brought the Sikorsky out and I raided the base, ground down everything, including the rover. So, as a result, I had to build a new rover. And the false sunrise, and someday Keen is going to have to figure this out because the sun is basically coming all the way through the voxels, even though it's still hard dark outside. But we have my new rover, including one of the new sexy cockpits that Keen has included with the recent block update. Some of the blocks, most of the blocks are actually decorative. However, the new cockpit I do like, which is why I've used it on this build. I think it has a good degree of visibility, particularly if you're doing first-person driving, which is one of the reasons why I chose it. I also like the fact that they have now included the HUDs in the builds. I currently have my speedometer here, and this is probably where I'm going to be looking most so that I can see where I'm going. I also have an artificial horizon, which isn't going to do me much good sitting on land, but it will give me an idea of how tilted I am when I'm in first person. I also have a daytime clock, which according to my real-world clock is accurate, and a power readout showing me my two sources of power, which are my two batteries, and then just underneath that my hydrogen, which of course is 0. But I am very happy with the rover in general. I'm in the process of doing a little bit of work on the exterior, since I do have a gun mounted on it, and I do intend to take it into combat on occasion. I have decided to put a little bit of armor on it. The armor is the gray stuff. That is what I added after the fact, and so I'm still in the process of working on things, but we shall see how it eventually comes out. I like to sit and play with things until I get it just right. I also upgraded to the 5x5 small grid tires so that I would have a little bit more ground clearance, and so far I'm very happy with the performance. I do have the strength turned down quite a bit, so the suspension is just a little bit soggy, and I'm getting quite a bit of bounce. However, I do like the wheels to have a bit of travel. So, for instance, when I'm doing something like what I'm doing with that front wheel there, I like the wheels to be able to operate independently of each other. And I'm very glad that I took the time to fix my driveway last time. Now, for some strange reason, my gun keeps going on, even though I have been turning it off. So I'm not really sure about that. Let's turn all of my lights off. And what else have we done? I went ahead and I cut away all of this stuff that was not supposed to have been welded, and I went ahead and repainted it. And I also mounted another projector. Actually, I've moved both of the projectors that I had outside. That one is going to be for my big base upgrade project, and I'm going to be showing you that one in a minute. This one is going to be for building ships. I had decided, even though it was nearly done being repaired, I had decided to go ahead and just cut up the Zephyr 1 and go ahead and start printing the Zephyr 2, which is going to be a somewhat larger ship, somewhat more heavily armored. It'll have wings on it, and it also has, since I seem to be dying a lot from hits to the cockpit, it also has an armored bit there sitting in front of the cockpit, which means my visibility from inside the cockpit will be obscured, but I often do most of my flying in third person anyway. I also managed to set it up in such a way so that the projector is coming off of a piston so that I can move it out if I need to, and as you can see, I have it very close to docking collar. So when I get to the point where this thing is printed, then I can just go ahead and I can grind away a few of these blocks, and then I can just go ahead and dock it. And then should anything happen to it, and it's a fighter, so I'm sure something will happen to it, then I can just go ahead and print another one. Now, the big thing that I wanted, the Condor is still lurking over there, Junker Light Airship. I might have to go after that later. The big thing that I wanted to do today, the big thing that I wanted to show you, and I'm glad that it's dark out, I have been doing a lot of work in creative mode on the design for the Goliath, my mobile base, and what this entire project will eventually turn into. And I think I've managed to get the design down fairly tight. I've got a little bit of tweaking left to do, but I think I'm fairly good with it. But in order to get an idea of how big the base is going to have to be, the interior cavity is going to have to be for me to build the thing, I went ahead and I built what amounted to a framework in creative mode. I went ahead and saved it as a blueprint, and now I'm projecting it, and this is the extreme range on the projector. I've got it set at 50 above where it would normally be, and this is going to be the size of the bay that I am going to need in order to build the ship as it currently sits, or as the design currently sits. So, and as you can see, that's pretty spacious. So what I'm going to have to do, we're going to come down here. Oh, something else I had managed to figure out, and I'm very pleased with. I managed to get my antenna built inside the base, and so now, instead of having to go through a terminal outside, I can simply access a terminal inside. And now I can just move this grid around as I see fit. And I'm going to have to basically submerge this to the point where it's completely underground. And someone's shooting at something. More Terminators. Darn nosy kids. Might go after that Junker Light Airship, although I don't think that the Zephyr will get printed quickly enough. So as you can see, the frame is now completely submerged under the ground. Let's see if I can actually see it from inside the base. Because if I can't, ouch. If I can't see the thing, oh, there it is. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to change that a little bit. One of the reasons why I have the build and repair system turned off is because of the fact that since this is a projection, anything that it comes in contact with, the build and repair system is going to try to build it. Let me go ahead and heal my damage real quick. Let me go ahead and take that up a few blocks and see if it's still submerged. And again, I got so used to doing it that way, I've forgotten that I can now do it this way. Now the thing that worries me, oh, okay, there it is. Projection is out of bounds. That means I can turn on the BAR and I don't have to worry about the thing being welded. And obviously it's gone up into the ceiling. Now when I was here, it was touching right there. So it was touching this block, so let's go straight up. There it is. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to clear away an area that is bounded by this frame, and then that is going to have to be the size of the bay that I'm going to use to build the Goliath. Needless to say, I'm going to have a lot of right-hand mining that I'm going to have to do. I'm going to leave that there now so that I can see it more clearly. However, now that I have that set to out of bounds, I also set this up. We have our airtight hangar door, and then I set up the BAR on that button. So now I go ahead and turn that on, and then hopefully the welding will begin. There we go. Now if I really wanted to be skeevy about it, what I could do is I could load up the Sikorsky with parts, and I could go ahead and bring it out here, and I could turn that on as well. And you know, I think I just might do that just to get that welded up faster. That's my toggle for on and off. So let's go ahead and now there's my main cargo bay. I still have 42,000 kilograms of ice. I'm gonna have to go setting up my ice soon. We've got quite a bit of things. Oh, I never emptied the build and repair. Oh no, that's not the build. That's the one. I think that's the one in the base. No, perhaps not. No, build and repair system. I think that this is the one. Yeah, this is the one from the ship. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm not going to need any interior plates, so we're going to bring over 100 computers and 200 construction components, 200 motors, because I know that the engines use a lot of motors. We're going to bring over 1,000 of those. Oh, okay. See, I don't have to count in my daily life that much, obviously. I don't think I have to worry about much more than that. Okay, now turn that on. Still got a problem with those last two. How weird. Gonna have to see about that. Fortunately, they're straddling my ship, so it's not a big deal. And now we go ahead and turn that on, and now you can see all of the special effects. I have a half a dozen build and repair systems on the Sikorsky. So, but I'm seeing a red light on one of them, and I wonder, seeing red lights on a couple of them actually, all of them. I wonder what's up with that. I wonder if that means for some strange reason these were not tied into. Okay, well, let's see what's going on. No, okay, well, now we're all set. Now that ought to build pretty quick. I still don't know if I'm going to have time to go up and get the junk, and it just humors me to say that way. Now, since I'm here, let me see if I can figure out what's going on with these damn doors. Okay, all of the hangar doors are set on the group. So let's go ahead and blast doors open, blast doors closed. Now you will note that, and this is a bug in the game, you will note that there is a white box in the upper right hand corner of the sensor box here, and that indicates that this is turning something on or opening it, and there is a black box here which indicates that it's turning it off or closing it, despite the fact that the text at the bottom says that it's open. And that is a very minor bug in the game that unfortunately is probably item 6,000 on the list that needs to be fixed. Now, here's what's interesting. Let me see. Oh, and again, I wonder if I can do this. I wonder. We set this sensor to detect players. Come on, give me the terminal. Airtight hangar doors. Okay. For some reason, that was turned off. Okay, so now I am puzzled because we still have a door here. Unless I missed it somewhere. 20, 30, 31, 32, 33. There we go. I don't know how those two managed to keep getting outside the network, as it were, but hopefully now we have that all fixed. I wonder, nope, okay. I wanted to make sure that I hadn't accidentally tied the wrong blast doors in on the button. Well, this seems to be moving along fairly well. And I might simply fly up and take a look at the junk instead of actually trying to capture it. I have a feeling I'm running out of metal grid again. No, I have quite a bit of metal grid, so that's definitely not a problem. It may just be a matter of build order. I'm certainly not lacking for any components now. Something else that I need to remember, I had stated in an earlier episode that I had a little bit of platinum, and so I was taking it upon myself to go ahead and build some rockets. And I'm not sure if it's here or if it's been moved to the assembler. I actually have almost 2,000 kilograms of platinum. I must have brought it in from one of the ships that I captured, and I simply never made note of it, and it wound up in the assembler, and I never saw it in the cargo container. So, needless to say, I'm not too worried about building rocket or missile ammunition. Now, I don't think I put any rockets on this design. No, I didn't. However, I do have, because several of my viewers had suggested, first of all, that I move the cockpit further back, which is why I put the armored bit at the front. And they had also suggested that I use more, always use more DACA, always need more firepower. So I went ahead and I just realized that's not tied into the rest of the system. So I went ahead and added a lower set of guns. So now I have 4 Gatling guns mounted forward, as well as a Gatling turret power cell, is that the battery? There we go. And I'm apparently lacking in some power cells somewhere. And I don't see any more parts going to and from, so I think this thing is now empty of all of the useful bits. So I'm going to go ahead and turn those build and repairs off. It would help if I would turn the coupler back on. There we go. Alrighty, so we're going to build some power cells. And let's see what we've got to work with here. Well, we've still got the Condor, which is probably a pretty puffy ship. I don't know if I'm going to want to risk my brand new fighter going after that. And unfortunately, the junk is gone. So I may take the new Zephyr out for a flight if I get it welded up just to see how it performs. I tested it in creative mode, but I haven't actually flown it yet here, and I haven't flown it fully loaded with ammunition, so I get to see how well it handles. So I actually, and in lieu of the fact that I am still heavily medicated, I think I'm actually going to call it here for today. I'm going to actually try to adhere to the idea that I'm going to have a shorter episode. So next time, excuse me, and in my off-duty time, I'm obviously going to start doing a lot of right-hand drilling, and I'm going to be doing a lot of cutting. And what I might do is I might do a high-speed montage of that to get through the fairly painful and very boring parts of that operation. And then I can go ahead and start laying down the grid. And I'm sure that I will have to put down another build and repair system. There will have to be plumbing, there will have to be lights, and so on and so forth. And then I can begin building the Goliath in earnest. So what I might do is get the bay set up in the downtime, or do a high-speed fast-forward montage over that. And then the beginning of my next episode, I will actually begin to lay down the Goliath so that you can get an idea of how I build large ships and the overall design, which is going to be fairly radically different from the rover type that I had built before. I do have to apologize. Apparently, along with the resurfacing of my knee, apparently my voice has also decided to go. So we'll have to endeavor to overcome. I appreciate everyone's patience. Again, I also appreciate the constructive criticism and the advice that I have been getting from several of my viewers. I appreciate your patience in following along and the rather erratic posting schedule. And as always, likes are appreciated and subscriptions doubly so. This is Darkizer signing off. Thank you for watching.